don't stop. Take it to the top, even when the ball drops. My man, we go higher. It's time to go higher. Let's take this thing higher.
I'd like to welcome Jack to our first ever It Starts Monday podcast, and It Starts Monday OG in the first group we ever started nearly 2 years ago now, Jack, wasn't it? So yeah, welcome to the first podcast, mate. I'm really looking forward to listening to your journey and sharing it with the rest of the world. So yeah, just wanted to start kind of the beginning really with you. So where you from? You know, what was it like growing up?
Yeah, I'm from a place called Rawcliffe in York. It's only small, but I had a good childhood, to be fair. It was good growing up. Mum and dad, absolutely. Well, my mum is like, she's by far the best woman to walk the planet. Easy.
Amazing.
And it's just, yeah. My mum and dad they broke up as I got older, but my mum has always been like the one, like, she comes above anyone ever. You know what I mean?
How old were you when your mum and dad broke up?
How old had I been? 11, 12.
How did that affect you?
Oh, massively, yeah. It wasn't great.
My mum and dad split up at 14, and it's a difficult age, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when you I was a teenager, you're coming into your teens, your emotions are a little bit all over the place.
Yeah,
so,
it was difficult because obviously them breaking up then made us move out to somewhere different, and then it's it wasn't great, but...
Do you think it was that brought on that real terrible phase in your life when you started supporting Leeds United?
I can blame that one on my dad, yeah. I can blame that one on my dad.
How long have you been supporting Leeds for? Your dad's a big Leeds fan, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Since I can never remember.
Really?
Yeah.
My dad was a Leeds fan as well growing up, but because he supported Leeds and me just being the rebel, I decided I'll support anyone but Leeds. Yeah, brilliant. So how was school? What do you like at school?
Yeah, I was a good kid, to be fair. Yeah. Well, I think I was, yeah.
Yeah, love your sport.
Oh yeah, loved it. Played, captain the school team, football, cricket, rugby, everything.
Yeah.
I think it was the first year group to win our regional cup. I think it was.
Brilliant.
Yeah, we
still got the trophy.
I've got the shirt still.
Have you?
With name up back and that. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a really good team, to be fair. A couple of lads went on to play for play for York a bit and stuff like that. We had a really good side.
Brilliant. My school team was terrible, and we had two players, myself and Lee Morris, that went on to play professional, but everyone else just played rugby, so the team was horrendous.
Yeah, we was lucky, we only had a small school.
Yeah.
And it just seemed to be that everyone in our year was just good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good time, yeah, it was good.
I always say playing for your school team are great memories, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
We used to kick off like 9:30 on Saturday morning. There always used to be that dew on the grass. I remember it like it was yesterday.
We always used to play after school.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then the bus journeys, obviously, to different schools.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good.
Territorial, isn't it?
Yeah.
We used to have some big games with Pocklington. They were like a real posh school with Pocklington, and then you had those riff-raff.
We used to have big games with Sherburn.
They
were rough.
Sherburn in Helmet?
Yeah.
My auntie used to live out there.
Good games are good.
Yeah, brilliant. So school was good for you. When you left school, what did you want to be when you were growing up? What was your ultimate dream as a young kid?
The ultimate dream.
The ultimate dream.
Just to be a footballer. That was the ultimate dream.
Yeah. So when did that dream end then for you as a footballer? When did you start to think?
When I started plumbing, probably. When I left school.
Yeah. And
you went straight into plumbing with my granddad and his mate.
Yeah.
Finished that, and then that's when it kind of went a bit rough again, sort of.
Yeah.
I had nothing then. Well, that was a tough time as well. I stopped doing that and then just kind of floated around everywhere.
Yeah.
Bit of a rough time. That was hard, that.
What in regards to rough time, what do you mean? Just kind of lost your way a little bit?
Yeah, and like my head was just like shot a bit. I don't know, it's difficult to describe, but it was like you have like a cloud over you all the time.
Yeah. And
all you want to, like, you just want it to piss down, basically.
Yeah.
And it just never did. And it was just getting worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
I was like laying in bed for days on end.
Really?
Yeah, it was...
Struggling to motivate yourself to get out?
Even like, it sounds daft, but even like the smallest things, like getting out of bed or like cleaning your teeth was just like so... It felt like such a big thing.
Yeah. The simple things, I suppose, like from the outside looking in, that seems so easy.
Yeah.
Are a big deal when you're in that space.
I have like, even like some of my mates, my good mates, they were like, some people just don't understand it, do they? Some people, it doesn't matter what you say to them, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
And it's like, even they're just like, oh, why don't you just get up and just go to work or whatever? And it's like, it's all right you saying that, doing it is completely different.
Yeah. It is. There's like you say, that cloud over your head, and you feel so heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to get out of your bed and get your slippers on or whatever,
Yeah.
it just seemed like a million miles away.
I think now I kind of manage it a bit more, like I said, at the point where I could start a new job, half an hour later I just quit, go home, go to bed. But now it's like, I understand that it's not going to be like that forever.
Yeah.
So you might have a rough day, but if you get through that day, the day after, you're going to be fine again.
Yeah, I think I know what you say. As you get older, you get an understanding of how you're feeling.
Yeah, yeah.
So you kind of know that it ain't going to last forever.
Yeah.
Tomorrow I might feel okay, or it might take a few days.
Yeah.
But sometimes you need to just batten down the hatches
Yeah.
and get through it, don't you?
Eventually, I think it's very easy to like run away
Yeah.
and just kind of think, fuck this, I'm off.
Yeah. Did you ever turn to booze or?
No.
No.
I've never ever drank at home or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was never. I just don't really enjoy it, so it was never something.
Yeah.
I just kind of got like wound up and like.
Withdrew.
Yeah.
I remember speaking to your dad, and your dad said you in your bedroom for days on days on days, and he was really worried about you. And yeah, I can imagine as a parent. So how old would you have been then, Jack? About 18, 19?
Probably been 19,
Yeah.
going into 20. Yeah.
Yeah, so the same age as my son. And I can imagine as a father, if your son's struggling, you must feel really helpless.
Yeah.
Think, what do I do? And I think that generation as well, of kind of your dad's age, it's a completely different generation. They'll never have dealt with, depression and stuff like that. It was kind of like, fucking hell, come on, suck it up type of thing. So if you, I can understand how it could be really, really hard to maybe communicate with you.
I'm not a great talker as it is. Like, I let things like build up and build up.
Yeah.
The way I dealt with it was just like, I was just going out and just getting into bother.
Yeah.
Like, just on nights out, I'd be going out looking for someone who I thought had a problem with me, who definitely didn't.
Yeah.
And just getting in bother like that in that way.
Yeah.
And that was my way of kind of getting rid of it all.
Yeah.
And like, I put myself into this boxing match. Like, I was nowhere near. Like, I was going home, and my mum was with a partner at the time who she's still with, and I was like crying at home to the point where my mum had to come home and sleep in the same bed as me.
Really?
And I've just been training for a boxing match I didn't even want to do, but I thought, I'm just going to go in there and I'm just going to have a fight with someone.
What was making you cry?
I don't even know. It's hard to say, innit? It's
just overwhelmed with emotion.
Yeah, just everything, like, even just like small things, anything was just bothering me so much that I was saying to my mum, because my mum used to go out before me, come home after me, and I was like, oh yeah, I am at work, blah blah blah, and I wasn't at work. I was just laid in bed all day, like I said, to the point where she was coming home, and I was just in tears.
Yeah.
To the point where she was sleeping in the same bed as me, and I'm like 19, 20 at the time.
Yeah. Do you ever speak to anybody about how you're feeling?
Yeah, but I did, but I don't think that helped me as much as what I helped myself.
Yeah.
As daft as that sounds. But I think sometimes, because it's not like, you can't see it, can you?
No.
You can't see, it's not like you breaking your arm, it's like, oh, his arm must be hurting. Like, there's only you who knows how you're feeling.
Yeah.
And there's only you really knows how you can deal with that, in my opinion.
And I think it's a real powerful point to make, is taking control of how you're feeling is so important.
Yeah.
You know, and getting an understanding of it and knowing that you are in charge of it. You know, you can control, you can get up and go for a walk.
Yeah.
It might be really hard, but sometimes you've got to force yourself to do
Yeah, you've got to force yourself, yeah.
Yeah.
But even if, like, you're feeling bad and you don't go to the gym, blah, 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 there's no point letting it affect you the day after.
Yeah.
The day after, you may as well get up and think, well, I didn't do it yesterday, but I am definitely going to do it today.
But sometimes you wake up though and it's not there.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
And that can be really, really frustrating where you think, I'll wake up tomorrow, it'll be a new day.
Yeah.
And you wake up and you
And
think,
it's not a new day, yeah.
I'm still not feeling great here. It can, and I found it can affect my confidence in myself.
Yeah.
And you think, shit, how am I like this?
Yeah.
You know, and you think sometimes you can be scared to tell people how you're feeling, especially as a man. You think, God, are they going to think I'm a pussy or whatever? That macho thing, isn't it?
I think it's very, well, not easy, but it's easier for certain people as well, I think. Like, someone look at me and thinks, oh, he works on a building site, he plays football, he likes rugby, he likes boxing. How can anything be wrong with him?
Yeah, man's man.
Yeah, but there is stuff. And, like, there is sometimes now, but like I say, you just get through it and get past it and just deal with it.
So when did you initially see It Starts Monday?
I think it was it'll be in your Twitter post.
Twitter, yeah.
I used to see it all the time, like, I'm definitely starting this week. And then it was like the Friday, I'm definitely starting this week. And then you put that post on, didn't you? I can't remember exactly what it said. But it was like, if anyone wants to lose weight, then let's do it. And I remember messaging you the first time. I just thought, I can't possibly be any worse than I am now.
Yeah.
So just give it a go.
I've got that message on my phone. I looked at it the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I think it's amazing when you see that journey of when it started to kind of knowing you now for the last 2 years and watching your life progress. I'm so fortunate that It Starts Monday, so I get some amazing messages. One of the messages that choked me up more than anyone I've ever got was off your dad. You know, after you'd been in and around It Starts Monday for a few months. And your dad messaged me saying, thank you. He said, I've got my son back. And it made me feel like, wow, it choked me up. It nearly brought me to tears. Because I could kind of envision the turmoil that your dad must be going through to see his son that's fucking struggling like mad here. And for him to say, you know, I've got my son back, it made me like think, wow. To kind of see your two relationship coming back together and him then being proud of what you're doing, and all of a sudden you're out, you're doing stuff. And yeah, we went for a very failed run around York Racecourse. Yeah. What did we plan on running, 5K?
Yeah, and it was nowhere near that, was it? I don't think we
did about 500 yards, didn't we? And we walked the rest. But that was the first time we met. And I think what struck a chord with me when I first met you is you were so young. Yeah. You how old were you? Were you 20? 22. 22 when I met you, and I'd have been 40. And I just looked at you and thought, wow, a young kid to be struggling like this. It affected, when I drove home, it really affected me. And I was thinking, wow, we need to get this young kid back. Your 20s should be the best time of your life. So after we'd met at York, why was that the trigger for you to think, you know what, I want to start being a little bit better?
Well, it was just like, I'm 22 years old. Well, yeah, 22 years old. Like, I can't even walk up the stairs and I'm shattered. And I'm not the tallest. And I was 16, like 16 stone 10 is heavy. That's heavy for anyone, really. Yeah. But for someone my height, that is very heavy. I'm not
taller than a lot of people, but I'm taller than you. Yeah. So when you do put on that much weight, I mean, the catalogue for me to lose weight was I lost my dad at a young age, and my Uncle Carson. They both had strokes from being overweight, and I'm 5'6", and I'm like, wow, I need to start living a little bit better. And I just started to get a little bit older. You worry a little bit more about your health. When you're young, you think you're indestructible a little bit, but when you get older, it does become a worry. So we went away, and all of a sudden, life started to pick up for you. Yeah. Because I think it's great what you said earlier about, I think a big thing for you was you took responsibility. You went away and thought, you know what, I do want to be better. I need to do X, Y, and Z to put myself in a better position. So talk us through that phase of your life.
Yeah, I just kind of followed what you were saying and what other people in the group were saying. And
how beneficial is the group been?
It's changed my life. Yeah, like it has. It's changed my life, and it's given like the girl that I'm with now, Chelsea. Also, she's on par with my mum. Like, she's just the best person ever. Yeah. Like, without her, I'd just be where I was before. Yeah. She's one of them people who don't realise how she's a calming person without actually doing anything. If that makes sense. Yeah.
I think sometimes when you're comfortable around someone, it brings that like woosah. Yeah. You know, you feel like you're at home, don't you? Yeah. You don't need to. You're safe.
Yeah, and
you know.
and she has a daughter as well who's also just the best. She's just great. Obviously, as I started feeling a bit better, we just started talking again, just generally, and then we just kind of started doing stuff together, and we got together, and that was it. And then a few months later, we was engaged.
Yeah. So. Do you think though sometimes, you know, when you're feeling better, do you think sometimes without even knowing that you're portraying yourself to other people better as well?
Yeah.
You have that shine around you again, you know, and that's when your dad said to me, I've got my son back. Yeah. That's kind of what I envisioned, that you've got that like bit of swagger back again, you know what I mean? And Chelsea probably looked and thought, wow, yeah, this guy's back.
And I think your whole outlook on things is completely different as well. Like, like it's mad, like you lose weight, which then makes your mind better.
Yeah.
And then you look at things completely, like your outlook on things is just so different. And I think that's kind of what helped me with that. Like I was all like, I love it like daily, like 100%. And I always did throughout like the whole time.
Yeah.
But I just don't think, this sounds bad, but I just don't think I was an attractive person for her. Because I wasn't great, like, do you know what I mean? Like, my outlook on things wasn't great.
Yeah.
We was kind of arguing about stupid stuff. And obviously, she just wanted nothing to do with me, really. But then I think as you start feeling better in yourself, you're more relaxed, I think.
Yeah, and I do. I think people start look at you different when you start carrying yourself differently, you know. And if I think it's probably without even knowing, all of a sudden you're feeling better, you're carrying yourself better, then people start thinking, well, that it's got that little swagger back.
And then now we're like 3 weeks away from having a son.
Yeah, amazing. When you messaged me and said, guess what? I was like, oh God, what? Chelsea's pregnant. I was like, holy shit. You know, it was, I bet you can't wait, can you?
Oh yeah, I'm buzzing. Yeah. Absolutely buzzing. I think that'll be another thing as well that just like puts you on like a different...
Yeah. I think it gives you something to, I found my own kids, it gives you something to put before yourself.
Yeah.
So when you're going to work for a reason.
Yeah.
To provide for your family. I think it just gives you that little extra drive, you know, to really try and achieve in life, because you want your kids to have everything, don't you?
Yeah.
You want them to have everything that you never had, or whatever you had, you want them to have more. You want them to be proud of you.
Yeah.
And I always think it's, I remember as a young kid, I can only ever remember my mum and dad working. That's all I can remember. So when I left school, it was never a case of, I'm not going to work, because I've always been known that you go out, you work, you earn a crust, and you provide for your family. And I think without even knowing, that's a real positive impact to put on your own family, that they see dad out grafting and putting food on the table for us all. I think it's a positive thing.
Well, I think my dad's kind of, I don't think he'll mind me saying, but he's got like, he had like struggles as well. Like, I'm pretty sure he has anyway. He's got bipolar.
Right.
So like my dad's uncle, I was very young. I think I was only 5, and he passed away, which then affected my dad. Yeah. And my dad was like, I don't know if you get it off each other or you get it off your parents or anything, but my dad was like in bed for like a year, pretty much, and he didn't work, and like, but now me and my dad get along better now than we ever have.
Yeah.
But I think that's because I feel better in myself. Maybe he feels better in himself, and then.
Well, maybe as well because you maybe have an understanding of what he went through, because you've been through a little bit similar yourself. You know, and I think sometimes when you've shared an experience, that understanding of, blooming heck, dad was actually not very well. Yeah. Rather than you maybe looking thinking, God, why is dad in bed? Yeah. As a young kid, you don't get it.
Obviously, when you're young, you don't understand, do you?
Yeah.
But then, obviously, that's again where my mum was like, I couldn't possibly thank my mum enough.
Yeah. For what? Held it all together.
Oh yeah. I couldn't possibly thank her for what she's done for me, especially.
Yeah. So, what's life looking like now then? Obviously, a few weeks away from your first child. Have you any names?
No, I think it will definitely not be down to me anyway. Right. So it doesn't matter what I say. Okay. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah, she's in charge of the names.
Oh yeah.
What's going to be the nappy changing routine?
I'm up for it. I want to do it. I think it's all part of it, innit?
Yeah. I remember when we first had Kyle, my eldest. Oh my God! And I was in there, and I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to go here. I was going to faint. So the nurse said to me, said, are you okay? And my wife said, oh, yeah, I'm fine. And the nurse said, oh, no, not you, your husband. He looks a bit green. I had to sit down. They had to give me like a glass of water to settle me down because it was, I found it a real surreal experience watching, you know, your partner give birth. I said to you in the car on the way over here, like I think you just get a newfound love and respect for your partner once you kind of see them.
Well, I've never held a newborn.
Oh, have you not?
Never. So, and I had the chance the other week. One of my friends had just given birth. Well, his partner had just given birth, and I thought, I want my son to be the first actual baby that I hold. Yeah, because she was like, "Oh, do you want to hold him?" I was like, I didn't want to say no, and I didn't want. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to seem horrible.
Yeah.
But I was just like, oh no, I want him to be the first one. I think that'll be.
Yeah. Can't wait. Is he going to be a Leeds fan?
Got no choice. Got no choice.
Brilliant, mate. What would your advice be to anybody that was maybe in a tough spot that you've been in the past? And I think the beauty of your story and why I wanted to share it with other people is because you've come out the other side. And I think that's really important for people to know and to understand that there is a happy ending in a lot of these stories and journeys that you hear. You know, I want to portray that to other people that if you are not feeling in a fantastic place, there is a way out.
Yeah, there is. Like, I just can't stress enough. Like, just talk to somebody, whether it be even a stranger or anyone. Somebody will listen. Like, I never told my mum for like, I think it was about 6 months. She just thought I was lazy, like when I was in bed, like whatever. And then when she understood, that was kind of a little bit of a, like, it's like a weight lifting off your shoulders.
Yeah.
And like, just talk to anyone, whether talk to me or talk to you or anybody, somebody will listen.
Yeah.
And even if it doesn't solve it, at least it's somebody else who understands the way that you feel.
Yeah. And I always think somebody else might know somebody else that can help.
Yeah.
You know, because I think sometimes when you feel in that rut, you feel like you can't get out.
Yeah.
And sometimes you might tell someone that tells somebody else that then can get you sometimes a little bit of help that you need. But yeah, from my point of view, I'm proud of where you are now. I'm proud to have been a part of your journey, to see you from the first time I ever met you to where you are now. It's been a long 2 years. It's been a hell of a 2 years for you, mate. And to see you kind of going into fatherhood, to see you, you know, become a partner, a father, to have your family proud of you, to get reconnected with your family. I think it's an amazing thing, mate, and I'm really proud of you.
Thanks.
So top man, and keep going in the groups, keep it going. Because you know what, as well, I think what's really important in the groups is you've come through the process.
Yeah.
But there's new people coming in the groups all the time. So they might need a little bit of advice from you. You know the saying that I always like to say about each one teach one?
Yeah.
You've been through the process. So I think it's you have a really important role now in the groups for a new person coming in that might have been you 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so you have that experience to maybe drop them a little message and say, listen, is everything okay?
Like that, I'd talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Like, obviously Jamie's in there as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he's great as well, and he's sound, isn't he? And like, he's the same as well. I think he'd talk to anyone. Yeah. I've spoke to him before in the past and that. And he's even messaged me when I've been a bit quiet or whatever, and he's always said, if you ever want to speak to anyone, just message, and somebody in that group, somebody will definitely listen.
Yeah, and I think that's really, really, really powerful. You know, I think a real powerful thing about the groups is no one knows each other on a personal level, so you don't feel like you're being judged. You're not going to go into the local pub
and see that person,
and you're thinking, oh shit, I said the other day to him that I was feeling a bit down, and he might think badly of me or whatever. I think that's a really good thing that we don't all live around the corner from each other. And I found that quite powerful. I think as men sometimes, rightly or wrongly, your ego gets involved, and you don't. A little bit, yeah. Because we all want. None of us want to be like, admit, I'm struggling a little bit here, because I think it feels like it strips you a little bit of your manhood.
I've one of my mates as well. He helped me a lot. Like, he's like, I'm sure you know people, like, he has literally the emotional range of like a teaspoon. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he is not someone, well, you can't say who'd never be affected by anything, but he's just very like black and white, is or it in. But even he's like understood what, like he's always been the person I would go to if I needed to speak to someone, and I think he finds it difficult to understand why I struggle or have struggled the way I did. But he was always there no matter what.
Just to listen sometimes is enough, isn't it?
Even not really replying with anything, just he would sit there or message or phone or anything, and he would listen, even though he probably thought, oh, what are you on about, sort of thing. But at least he was there to listen. And even though he might not think he helped that much, on that specific day, it definitely did.
Yeah. Sometimes you just need somebody, and it can be anybody, can't it? And I think sometimes family, you don't want to burden them with it.
Yes, it can, especially if you know what they're dealing with as well, or, you kind of think, well, do I want to give them my problems as well? But you should, because everyone can help everyone, can't they?
And they're the ones that love you more than anyone, and they're the ones that want to see you do well. So I think the message that you're trying to say is talk, and it's so important. But it can be difficult, can't it? But sometimes just pick up the phone to anybody, and talk and get it off your chest, and hopefully move forward.
And I think you see a lot of comments, people everyone says talk to someone, don't they? But it is so important just to. It's hard to describe, innit? Just talk to anybody.
Yeah, and I think once you've done it once, it's easier the second time.
Yeah.
Because I think that first time, I always find it's an ego thing.
Yeah.
I don't want to ring my brother or sister or my mum up and say, I'm struggling a bit here, guys. Because you see, I always feel like they're looking at me then a little bit weaker.
Yeah.
And it's not. That's just your perception in your own head.
Yeah.
It's not reality. They'd much rather know than not know, wouldn't they?
I'm guessing it could be more difficult for you with like the two professions that you've done as well, I presume.
It's a macho thing.
Yeah.
Especially being a fighter.
Yeah.
But I'm like everybody else.
But I don't think it matters how strong you are. It doesn't matter how strong you are, does it?
Not at all. It doesn't discriminate mental health.
I don't think people understand that as well. Like, it ain't just like small or weaker people who you think are weaker people. It just doesn't care who you are or what you think you are. If you're struggling, you're struggling.
I think the perfect example of that's Tyson Fury, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
The heavyweight champion of the world. The toughest man on the planet, who's had days like we've talked about that we've had where you can't get out of bed. It's Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
So I think him coming out and talking so openly has helped so many people to think, bloody hell, if Tyson Fury can come out and say it, then surely I can.
Especially, like, I've walked past him, or he's walked past me, and the size of the guy, like, he's massive, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a lump,
He's
isn't he?
absolutely massive.
Yeah, I think Paddy Pimblett as well, who did the talk after his last MMA fight, who came out and spoke passionately about men's mental health. I think there's more people out there talking about it now, which is a really powerful thing. Let's say from my generation, I was born in the 80s, it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
I could never imagine as a young man going to my family to talk about mental health issues. I just can't ever imagine that it'd have been like, that's no fault of my
It's just how
parents.
it was.
They didn't know either. So
I don't think more people, like, people always say now, don't they, oh, it's very easy to say you have mental health problems because you're having a bad day or whatever. I don't think more people suffer with it. I think more people are just happy to kind of say it.
More people are aware of what the situation is and what they're actually struggling with. And you know what? Even if they haven't got mental health issues and they're just having a bad day,
just talk about it.
I think the same process is there. Go and talk to someone and say, "Oh shit, day today. This went wrong, that went wrong." You know what I mean? And it might be anything. It might be, well, do you fancy? I don't know. Should we go for a walk? Do you fancy a beer? Whatever it is, just something. Sometimes you need someone to sound off with, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's. Like I said, I'm real proud of your journey. It's brilliant. And when we decided to do the It Starts Monday podcast, you're the first person I thought that came to my mind because of the journey where it started and where you are now. I'm looking forward to coming to Wet the Baby's Head with you. So that'll be great. And yeah, I'm really proud of you, bud. And thank you. Appreciate you coming to share your journey with us.
Pleasure.
Is there anything you want to say before you go?
No, I think we've done it all, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, keep going. Top man. Jack, thanks for coming, mate, and I appreciate you sharing your journey with us.
Cheers, thank you.
Top man.
Cheers.
How long did we go?
Oh, that was awesome, lad.
Yeah?
Jack, brilliant, mate.
Is that good?
Spot on, really good.
Brilliant.
You ain't gotta settle in. Go places they never been. We go higher, non-stop. Take it to the top, even when the ball drops. My man.